Hey everybody! So today we're going to talk some more about the Galactic Center and some some other things that kind of feel like they might tie in with it. But I want to first start out with my disclaimer that I am not a GC expert. I have lots of astrological knowledge, but this is one area where I am literally just fucking with astrology and fucking with ideas and things like that. So don't take what I'm about to say like it's absolute truth or I am saying that I am correct or right. I'm not saying that I am. I'm not saying that I'm not either, but you know, I'm literally just fucking with shit. So I'm going to be I have a blog post that goes along with this video. I will be posting the link to it. So you can check it out if you're more of a reader or a watcher, or I don't know, it might translate better written. Who knows? Not sure yet. But okay, so I've mentioned before in other videos that I feel like when you have square aspects in a chart, the midpoint of the square is where you can release the tension from the square, since the square aspects are tension. Their tension, their challenge, their struggle. I do feel like the midpoint of any square aspect is a way that you can kind of release that tension or that struggle or that challenge. Why do I mention this along with the Galactic Center? Well, I was looking at the Galactic Center on a chart. Let me pull it up. I've got it on my pictures here. I was looking at the GC on a chart. Right? So we've got the GC. It's circled in green. Then we also have the Galactic Anticenter, which is opposing it. And then there is the Supergalactic Center down towards the bottom of the chart, which is also circled in green. And then whatever opposes the Supergalactic Center is opposite the Supergalactic Center. Still not totally sure what that is yet. I'd love to know more about that because I do think that there probably is something there. But essentially what you have there is what I'm calling the Galactic Grand Cross. That's what I'm calling it. I might come up with a better name for it later, but that's what I'm calling it for now. And it's a series of squares, right? The Supergalactic Center squares the Galactic Anticenter, the Galactic Anticenter squares whatever the fuck is opposing the Supergalactic Center. Whatever opposes the Supergalactic Center is squaring the Galactic Center, and then the Galactic Center is squaring the Supergalactic Center. So it's a series of squares. Now, with something like a Grand Cross, the balance, right, is key. Balance is key with the Grand Cross, the balancing the oppositions. But I did start looking at these fucking squares, right? Because there is tension with the squares. There is tension with the square aspects. And I started running the midpoints for these, just kind of out of curiosity to see what would pop up. And I came up with roughly the midpoints for each of these squares. They are at roughly 15 Taurus, 15 Leo, 15 Scorpio, and 15 Aquarius. Roughly that's where they are, and that's what those purple, again, I'll show you the purple like lines, thick lines. That's to symbolize where the midpoints are. Now, 15 degrees of the fixed signs, they're traditionally not thought of as real great. You won't see a lot of really great things said about them. Now, that to me is more fatalistic shit, and fatalistic shit can suck a dick as far as I'm concerned. Like, I don't want to fuck with that. I don't personally, this is me personally, I don't think that anything is that fatalistic you know, you'll see really negative things written about these particular degrees. And I don't know. I don't think that always has to be the case. But other than that though, another reason why this piqued my interest, and it's something that I hadn't thought about in a long time, it's something called, well, you'll see different names for it, but it's something called avatar points, avatar gates, or gates of the avatar. And I think there's some other names that this is called as well, but I'm going to go with those. And essentially it's this idea that 15 degrees in the fixed signs represent something where divine energy can enter somebody. Now I'll give you the actual definition. In the blog post I have the definitions for this stuff. For an avatar in this context, it's defined as a manifestation of a deity or released soul in bodily form on earth, an incarnate divine teacher. Another one is a release of energy. So that's what I mean by avatar in this context. Now, these things called avatar gates, I had heard about them before. I had heard the term, not really worked with them that much, but I definitely heard the term. But in the context of the GC, and the GC already feeling like, and the super galactic center, and even the anti-center, and the whatever the fuck opposes the super galactic center, there is this feeling of a lifeline, specifically with the GC and the super GC though, from what I can ascertain so far. It does seem like there is this lifeline to somewhere else or something else or another dimension or realm or what have you. And I know that that's totally intangible to say, but it does feel like they're like this could be the case. I won't say it is, but it could be. So I started, you know, in that context, and then I'm thinking about these fucking avatar gates. I'm thinking, well, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. So let me give you the definition for, or what essentially avatar gates are. Essentially, these are thought to be at 15 degrees of the fixed signs, and they are important. They are important outside of the GC, right? Why they are important. Since they are the midpoints between the solstice and the equinox points in the natal chart. And these are generally, the solstice and equinox points are generally thought to be at the Aries points, or the 0 degrees of the cardinal points, or 0 degrees of the cardinal signs, cardinal points. So 0 Aries, 0 Cancer, 0 Libra, and 0 Capricorn. These are considered to be the solstice and the equinox points in the chart. So it's thought that these parts of the chart, 15 degrees of the fixed signs, are thought to be a place that allows energy to release from the source and come through the native. If there happens to be a planet at 15 degrees of the fixed signs as a vehicle for this source energy to come through, this is made all the stronger. That's my opinion anyway. I think that last part, I think if somebody has a planet conjunct one of these avatar gates or avatar points, it probably makes the energy, it gives the energy that's trying to come through a vehicle to come through, versus it just being a point in the chart. Does that make sense? It doesn't mean it still can't come through even if there's not a planet there, but I do think having a planet there probably makes it easier. I put that in quotes because with the GC and shit like this, I don't know that easy is necessarily the correct word to use, but in the context of using a planet as a vehicle for something, yes, I do think it makes it easier. And again, the avatar gates are a thing regardless of if you've got anything going on with the GC or not, right? But I'm mainly, you know, just focusing on it in the context of the GC. So I feel like, you know, because there's so much energy at the GC, right? Because there's so much energy there. And because there's so much energy at the super GC. There is tension there with these two energies. And also think about it like, you know, I've mentioned before that I think the super galactic center is more like, okay, the galactic center is the center of our galaxy. The super galactic center is the center of like the cluster of galaxies. So it's almost like, you know, there is tension there because they are essentially square one another. It's becoming looser, but it is, you know, where it's, you know, it's within 4 or 5 degrees, but it is there. So there is tension. So it's like that tension already exists between these 2 points in the chart. If you've got planets or like the node, one of the nodes or one of the major angles or something conjunct one of these points, it feels like the tension might be stronger. Same thing if you've got like, you know, a planet or a point or a, you know, whatever, conjunct the GC and then conjunct the, whatever opposes the supergalactic center. There's tension there too, though I don't quite know exactly what that tension is in the realm of the whatever opposes the super GC, because I don't really know what actually opposes the super GC yet. But I could guarantee there's probably tension there. Just because of the square aspect, there probably is. If I were to go along with the whatever opposes the super GC as being like the galactic anticenter, it might function kind of like a lightning rod. It might also be like a blind spot, so to speak. It could be. But I'm still not sure about that. So don't hold on to that too much because I don't know how accurate that part is. But, it does seem like the avatar points could be a way for any tension that exists within this galactic Grand Cross to kind of be eased. That's kind of where my mind is going with this. And it also makes me think that people that have like GC contacts, like GC conjunctions, like let's say somebody has something conjunct the supergalactic center and they have something conjunct the GC. It would make, I would think, that avatar point in Scorpio, like 15 degree Scorpio, it would make that avatar point or avatar gate really important, because it would ease the tension between those two planets or points or what have you. It would be the place to look to ease that tension or the release of the tension. And I think when the tension is released, something divine or something is able to come through. Now, I think it could also open these people up to, I think they need to be, because it is like a gate essentially to something else. They probably do need to be very, I would think, aware of what they allow in. This is just intuitive. I still need to flesh this part out, but aware of what they let in, I think would be good advice. And if they've got a planet there, conjunct that avatar point. If I were you, I would, okay, what I'm going with for now is a planet conjunct an avatar point within 2 degrees, applying and separating. It'll, I think that, the closer you get it to 15 degrees, the better. But I would say, I don't know, if you've got a planet like at 1350 Scorpio, or a planet at 1650 Scorpio, I would still count it. I would still count it here. But but obviously, the closer you get to 15 degrees, the better. Or the more powerful it seems like it might be. But it does seem like that planet, or planets, because you might have multiple planets, would be very, very important in, it would be important not in the translation of the energy from the GC or the super GC. Translations feel more like trying things. I've mentioned that in other videos. But, like, because the GC warps things, right? If you've got a conjunction to the GC, it's going to warp that planet. It's going to change that planet. It's going to make that planet function differently. And so any downloads that you get from the GC to that planet or something like that could be not incorrect, but just, it might not be as, because there's so much energy and because of the warping, it just might not be as easy to work with it, I guess, all of the time. Might not be the clearest. But if you have a planet conjunct the midpoint, right, between like the super GC and the GC, that planet, because it's also kind of like a tie as well, it's like an entry point, a way for things to enter as well. Whatever that planet is that's there, it might actually help you work with what's going on at the GC, or even work with what's going on at the super GC if it's a planet conjunct the super GC. I could see that being the case. I really could. So understanding if you've got a planet like conjunct one of the avatar gates, and you have planets or something conjunct the GC, super GC, whatever opposes the super GC and the galactic anti-center, I would definitely fucking understand those planets or planet at 15 degrees of the fixed signs. I would definitely want to understand this. I would for sure want to. Now, something else, when I'm reading about this, right, like the avatar gates, they've got names. Their names are the Ox's Gate or the Bull's Gate, the Lion's Gate, the Eagle Gate. I actually like Phoenix Gate for this personally, but Eagle's Gate is what you'll see most often. And the Angel's Gate, I like the Enlightened Humans Gate. I like that better, but Angel's Gate is what you'll see most often. And I'm reading about this, and I'm thinking, my mind flashes to this. The Wheel of Fortune. This is what my mind automatically goes to. Because as you can see, shouldn't have set it down. As you can see, you have the bull or the ox, the lion, the eagle or phoenix, and the angel or the enlightened man. Now, what else is interesting about this is that the Wheel of Fortune has a correlation with Sagittarius. It has a correlation with Sagittarius energy. So I think that's another reason why my mind also went to this card. I mean, there's another card that also kind of depicts these four gates in a way. That's the World. Now, the World is a Saturn or a Capricorn card. So I got to think about that one a little bit. But the Wheel of Fortune, I do think that it's interesting that it does have Sagittarius connotations. GC is in Sagittarius. And all of those happen to be on this card. Now, in my blog post, there's more to this card. This is getting kind of long, so I'm going to stop. But I do kind of go into a little bit more of my thoughts about that. In terms of this card, but it did stand out to me because the Wheel of Fortune is one of these cards that when you pull it, it is a good card. If it's upright, it's a great card. If it's reversed, it's not so great, right? It can change things. This card really, the more that I think about it, the more I've sat and I've like meditated on it. There is something very GC like about it. There really is. Because like the GC can change things like that, and so can this card. For the good or the bad. So, yeah. Now, I also realize that the Wheel of Fortune card and the World, these cards actually, like, I'm associating them with the with the avatar gates. That's not actually what their association is. Their association is actually with the 4 evangelists. That's actually what the connotation, why they're on there. Okay, and that would be like a whole other video to go into. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole yet. But that's actually what they tie to. But in my mind, looking at these avatar gates, I'm tying the stuff on this card with the avatar gates and with the GC. And I do feel like I'm onto something, but I've got to sit with it longer. Anyway, check out your own chart and see if you have like GC conjunctions, super GC conjunctions, galactic anti-center conjunctions, whatever the fuck opposes the super galactic center. If you've got conjunctions to those, any of those, look and see if you've got planets within, 13 to 17 degrees of the fixed signs, and see what that looks like, and see if you feel like that planet might have more power than you've originally thought it does. I feel like it probably does. But let me know. Anyway, I'm gonna get going. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can find us at Let's Fuck With Astrology. I'm at Saturn Season Astrology on Instagram. Natalie is at Apaterno Astrology on Instagram. If you want to like or subscribe or whatever the fuck people do with videos on YouTube, you can find us by searching for Let's Fuck With Astrology in the YouTube search bar. And if you do the Reddit thing, come join us on the subreddit Let's Fuck With Astrology. And if you want to be part of the GC research, by all means reach out. This research will be going on for a while. I don't see it stopping anytime soon. So yeah, let me know. All right, I'll see y'all later.